friends. I just want a quick chat with you about, this feeling that might be familiar to some of you, but might also not be so familiar to the most of you. It's a feeling that I have personally come across recently. Basically, there comes a point in your life where you feel that you're no longer the same person. For example, myself, I used to kind of operate in a cycle, and this was a cycle of friends, career, and family. And so this rhythm kind of defines your identity. You kind of find yourself um, easier or quicker within that kind of rhythm. And then when that rhythm gets disrupted, you feel like you're no longer the same person. So this feeling often comes when one is actually transitioning. And the transition could be in relations to career, it could be in relations to relationships. So this feeling could be familiar to you if you have experienced any of the following things, yeah? A career break, a relationship ending, if you have lost a parent or you have lost a loved one, if you have become a new parent, relocation, or simply stepping into a new phase of life. So these moments can actually force you to let go of your old habits because you're trying to build new ones. So this process of building new habits can truly become uncomfortable, and at times it can be painful. I'm finding myself in that space, and I felt like it is only fair for me to share just a little bit of my experience, because I also feel that we don't necessarily talk so much about them, or if we have experienced some of these feelings, we may not necessarily feel ready to share in the moment. We don't really talk about the impact these transitions have on ourselves. And so, it is in these moments that we tend to ask ourselves, like, who am I really outside of this cycle? Am I really the same person? Because clearly you feel that you are not necessarily the same person. Something inside you is changing. And you kind of feel like, am I trying to find an identity? And in that process, in that moment, you kind of feel lost because your rhythm has been disrupted. And so it is only fair to kind of ask yourself some of these questions. I'm not sure if you have experienced any of this feeling and you've had to adjust to novel ways of doing things. You've ended a relationship. You have lost a parent or you have lost loved ones. You are experiencing novelty in your life. And then these questions tend to come and you're asking yourself, who am I? Who am I becoming? The truth is, change is truly uncomfortable. And unfortunately, it is inevitable. There are some points in our lives where we kind of have to experience change. It's very funny because very recently I was speaking to one of my great friends, and I was just mentioning to them that why is it that when we try to envision our future, we picture it as a very smooth transition? Everything aligns, everything flows, everything makes sense. We rarely include all the barriers, all the challenges that we might face along the way. We don't include all the discomfort that we get to feel when we actually pursue that reality. Like, for example, in business, there's something called a scenario analysis where business people kind of foresee or plan for risks and challenges. Why can that strategy not be replicated when we start thinking about or planning for our future? I personally was thinking, years of experience, I'm going to go straight into a very smooth transition and I'm going to step into a new environment feeling at home. But hey, that's not reality. What I actually experienced was absolutely different from what I had imagined to be. It took time. Adjusting into a new environment, understanding new systems, navigating into unfamiliar spaces, it wasn't instant and it required patience. And it is in these moments where you start mourning, you start grieving, you start being sad, you even start questioning, who am I now? But trust me, there is a turning point. And I'm not saying this because it's easier said. No. I am saying this based on the experiences that I've had to go through myself. And I know that it wasn't easy for me. In those moments, I was like, am I really going to come out of this? It's never about what happens in those moments. It's mainly about how you respond to those moments. And it's not easy, but it's a process. It's a process of continuous effort. It's a process of consistency. It's a process of showing up and keep doing without let up. Do not give up. Hold your vision tight to your hands, but keep doing the work. And eventually, and it's funny because as you keep doing the work, something really happens. Someone notices you, someone sees your effort, someone sees your consistency, and that someone will send feedback either to yourself or to someone else. And that's how you get noticed. It might sound cringe, but honestly, this is how the universe works. And throughout these processes, keep God first. And I'm saying God because definitely God should be your pillar. And because in that process, you need faith, you need hope. Because these are things that you are envisioning and you want to achieve. So, hope and faith should play a significant role. Because faith is the assured expectation of the things hoped for. You know the saying. So, growth is definitely uncomfortable. And it comes in with so many questions. But when you keep showing up, you keep making an effort, you keep being consistent, you keep being disciplined and focused on your goals, trust me, that type of work, those type of efforts will not go unnoticed. And something will change. You'll be noticed and slowly you'll start rebuilding your identity. It's not easy. And again, very easier said than done, but just trust the process. Have your goals aligned and just focus. Follow the path and the direction. Do not waver. Do not wander because it will happen. It will happen for you. So a few tips that I would like to share with you that I kind of picked along the way is, of course, I've noticed that reinventing yourself or rebuilding yourself is not easy. It comes with a lot of discomfort. It's challenging. It comes with a lot of loneliness. You can be sad in the process. But one thing is, never shrink yourself just to feel safe. Never do that. And also, another tip that I found useful is that as you rebuild yourself, make sure you upskill yourself, you self improve, you self develop. Because as you keep doing this, you build your skills up, and this action actually builds your confidence. And once you build your confidence, trust me, it's very easy for someone else to notice you because it radiates externally and you can easily attract opportunities. And of course, I've had moments myself where I kind of, look back and think about what life could have been for me versus what life looks like for me right now. And I'm learning to every day count my blessings. I'm learning to be appreciative of where I've come from. I'm learning to adjust because I'm realizing that it's not by staying in that place of questioning, staying in that place of discomfort that brings change. Growth is uncomfortable, and growth comes from navigating the uncomfortable situations. And so you adjust, you learn, and hey, you move forward. And so this is proof that you're evolving, you're growing, you're becoming something new. And maybe the question is no longer, who am I anymore? Probably the question should be, who am I becoming? Who am I going to become? And who you will become is definitely upon yourself. Until next time, bye.